Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Justin Jackson with another episode of the Real Chat Podcast. I got my man all the way from Arizona right now, Jeff Rowe. You know what I'm saying? Jersey City Jeff. You know, that's my dude. So go ahead and say what's up to everybody.
What's going on, everyone? Jersey City Jeff reporting to you live from Phoenix, Arizona. Justin, thank you so much for having me on the Real Chat Podcast, my brother. This is long overdue.
Definitely. Long overdue. Long overdue. Reschedule. Busy, busy, busy. But yeah,
Mhm.
man. So tell us a little bit about yourself, man. Who is Jersey City Jeff and how did that name come to be?
Oh man, so Jersey City Jeff is actually a persona that I created earlier this year, back in February. Of course, through just motivations from our mutual mentors, right? Heather B. One time I called into Sway in the morning, and right before they hung up the conversation with me, Heather B's like Jersey City Jeff, and I was like, boom, aha! It was an
That,
aha
I,
moment because
I see they simplified it. JCJ.
yeah, yeah, they had JCJ on Destroy, and shout out to AI Ed, yeah, man. But prior to that, I had done some work on my personal branding, years, as a matter of fact, of work on my personal brand, but a lot of it was more on the LinkedIn side of things, right?
Mhm.
So, as I'm thinking about how am I going to bring this into social media world, right? Not that, LinkedIn social media, but are the typical platforms we think of, right? Like Instagram and whatnot. And I had an Instagram account, and I was doing my thing, but it was more of a personal. It started personal, right? It wasn't really cohesive to what a personal
Right.
brand should look and feel like. So yeah. Heather said Jersey City Jeff on a call into Sway in the morning, and I was like, boom, that's what I should. That's what I gotta call it. So yeah, I
Okay.
started the Jersey City Jeff Instagram page back in February of this year, which may have some people like, who the hell is this guy? Since they
Right.
didn't know me before then. But if you actually go back to the beginning of Jersey City Jeff, the first 50 or 60 posts of that page are in perfect chronological order, and it starts with my first day working at SiriusXM back in November of 2015 and brings you to today pretty much. So
Okay.
yeah, the first 50 or 60 posts go back, there that kind of tells the foundation of the story, but I bring you to current present day. And yeah, I guess it's just my way of telling my story and using the the persona, the brand of Jersey City Jeff as a sort of a testing ground for, throwing
Okay.
spaghetti at the wall, seeing what kind of content will hit, you
See
know?
what sticks. You know what I mean? Well, I want to tell you,
Yeah.
Jersey City Jeff, man. I definitely salute you on that, man. That's something in a short period of time, man, that you accomplished and been able to make waves with because I follow you. So I see
Yeah.
everybody that follows Jersey City Jeff, you know. So
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely caught some momentum. I think part of it was, I had help from our mutual mentors in terms of the inspiration and continued support and encouragement to this day through how much I call into Destroy Show, like how we keep that name
sure.
out there in the ethos, so people
Right.
are hearing the name, the more that it continues to reach folks, the more that I continue to network and connect with others. It's seeing a positive impact, and I'm happy for it.
Right. So now with Jersey City Jeff, now what is it? Can you tell the audience like exactly what it is you do, brother? Like what do you
Yeah, yeah,
do
yeah,
in
yeah.
bringing
So
people together?
100%, 100%. So, in layman's terms, I'm a community manager and a digital community manager at that. Because the term community manager, most people hear it, they're like, "Oh, so you're a property manager? You work at a
Right.
building management?" It's like, no, online communities, digital communities. So, for the past 13 years now, I've been helping brands and companies to connect with their customers in a meaningful and authentic way. Because in doing so, you remind your customers about the value that you represent when they first made a purchase decision with you, whether you're selling a product or a service. Um, having a community around your brand
Mhm.
helps to galvanize your customer base and bring them from more than just a customer to really an advocate for your brand.
So to let them
So,
know that you didn't forget about them, and you don't
right,
want them to forget about you.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Like, and this kind of galvanizing of your customer base, it works in so many different ways. Like something as simple as, not sure if you're aware, but the scissors brand, Fiskars, right? Like the
Okay.
the scissors with the orange handles on them.
Yes. Yep.
That's
Yep.
the company that makes them is called Fiskars.
Okay.
Dude, there's a community for that. And what that community looks like is a bunch of exactly, a bunch of moms really that are very much craft. They're into
Okay. Yeah.
arts and crafts, and they're enthusiasts of arts and crafts.
Okay.
And they're huge fans of the Fisker scissors because they use them very often. Probably very comfortable scissors to use, right? But
Mhm.
there's a Fiskars community because you've got all these folks who really love these scissors because they love to do arts and crafts, right? So
Right.
in that way, it brings it together, and you're able to build a community of folks who have purchased your scissors, and now they're creating content for your brand because they're showing you all of the fun and different ways that they're using your product.
Right. Right. And it's all personal for
Right.
them.
Exactly.
It's personally connected to them. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
okay. All right. So when did this all start for you? Like, when I know you didn't just wake up one day and say, I'm gonna be a community manager. Like, I'm gonna go to school and I'm gonna become a community manager,
Yeah,
so
yeah, 100%. Did not that, as a matter of fact, none of us have. And uh, one of my colleagues wrote a book about this called "The Accidental Community Manager,"
okay.
because a lot of us became community managers on accident. It wasn't something we set out to do.
Right.
Um, and when you pivot into a career path that you didn't initially intend on doing, you don't always feel very confident about the skill set and the tools that you have to make yourself successful in that field. But to answer
Right.
your question, my journey as a community manager began back in 2011.
Mhm.
It was my first job out of college. I was interning at an education technology company called 2U.
Okay.
And what this company does is they leverage technology to empower universities to deliver their degree programs online.
Mhm.
So I was the community manager for the Masters of Arts in Teaching at USC.
Wow.
And like I said, it was my first job out of college, started as an internship, and I flipped it into a full-time job. And I've been doing community management work ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are some of the places outside of 2U that you've done community management for? Like, can you
So yeah, after 2U, I started, I've kind of spent a lot of my career at the intersection of community management and social media management. And that's a lot of the way that I like to explain to folks the difference between digital community management and social media management, because a lot of folks who think they know what community management is will be like, "Oh, you're a community manager, so you're on social media." And it's
right.
like, yeah, but not exactly, right? Because, you could 100% be a community manager, but you could be managing a community that lives on social media, right? Like a Facebook
Mhm.
group or a LinkedIn group. Um, but the way that I explain it to folks, since both community management and social media management are digital marketing tools, is
Sure.
I say social media management is a customer acquisition tool
Mhm.
that's used to build brand awareness and bring new customers in the door. Whereas community management is a customer retention tool that's designed to build meaningful and authentic relationships with your customers. And in doing so, you remind them of that value that you represented when they first made a purchase decision with you, and it keeps them coming back. It keeps them
Right. So you
engaged.
keep them.
Right.
Okay.
It's meant to keep your customers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, without giving out too many of the secrets and tricks that you use, you know what I'm saying, to make this all
Yeah.
come together. Because for y'all that don't know, I belong to a couple of Jeff's communities, and
Mhm.
man, it's something that I've never seen before. It's crazy that the connectivity that we have. So like
Yeah.
when we jump on there, you wouldn't even believe half of the stuff that comes across. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a tight knit community in such a short period of time. So what he does is very he puts a lot into it. He puts so much into it, that you can see the love and feel the love, through that community. So can you explain a little bit about how you put something like that together?
Yeah. For first of all, I appreciate you saying that. Because there definitely is a lot of thought that goes into building community, especially when you're trying to do it at scale, right? And folks that
Mhm.
are all over the country, sometimes all over the world. It's difficult. It's difficult work, and it's not the kind of work that you see a return on overnight. It
Right.
takes time. It takes an upfront investment, and seeing it all come together is a process for sure. So the best example that I can give you is probably the community that we most recently both joined. Right. Let's talk about
Mhm.
the Sway in the Morning, the Citizens. Right.
Yes. Yes.
um, Here we are, a whole bunch of us that are forming these connections, and we've got group texts going back and forth and stuff like that. And it
Some
starts to get a little
sidebars.
some sidebar conversations, folks that are, wanting to collaborate. That's another little pocket of it, right? Like we want to get
Yes.
on a real chat episode with the big dogs from the community, the Terrys and the Louis and the Jeffs, and
Right.
the big constituents on the different coasts and the different parts of the country that are kind of leading the charge when it comes to galvanizing this community. And communication, there's so many ways to communicate these days, and it can be overwhelming at times. So I know of a web-based community platform that's called Nas, just like the rapper.
Yes.
Nas.io, for anyone who wants to check it out if you're interested in starting a community of your own. Um, but the Nas platform allows you to create a community in literally minutes. It's click, click, click. What's the name of your community? Give a little description. What's it about? Boom, you've got a landing page for a community.
Yes, and it's pretty dope. I
It is.
downloaded that right away as soon as you told me.
Yeah,
I'm like, boop,
it has a
download.
mobile app, allows you to access it if you're on the go, all of that good stuff. And even better, it integrates with all of the popular chat platforms that we
Right.
also use to build community. So it connects with Telegram, it connects with WhatsApp, it connects with Discord. um and I believe there's one more that it integrates with, but I can't remember.
Right.
But a lot of these chat platforms have also been used to create community. It probably connects with like Slack or something like that.
Hmm.
But what do you call it? The the chat platforms that have been used to build community, they're wonderful, right? We're seeing a
Hmm.
lot of communities that are being built on Discord in the gaming space,
Right.
in in the Web3 space when it comes to cryptocurrency and the blockchain, things like
Hmm.
that. Um, so it's helpful to have it connect with a chat community, and it's also helpful that WhatsApp has a communities feature where you
Okay.
can create communities on WhatsApp. Um, but sometimes having it live solely on a chat platform may not be the most conducive thing for your community. So, you
Right.
know, we're seeing traction right now with folks joining the WhatsApp community for the citizens. Um, but as we continue to grow, as we continue to scale, what I'd love to see is have that engagement take place on the Nas platform,
Okay.
because that'll show that we're growing in a different kind of way,
Hmm.
where it's not we're just chatting and having casual conversation back and forth in a chat app, but we're also engaging with each other to the point where we have our own little space that looks like social media. It feels like social media, but it's not Facebook. It's not Instagram. It's
Right.
not.
Well, you never know. It might just turn into something that's like the next Facebook. You know what I mean? You don't know.
Right.
You know, and that's good that you're building out something like that, because I know with like WhatsApp or
Mhm.
Discord, you know, things like that, a lot of people are kind of iffy to even get on there and join it. But if you
Correct.
give them another outlet that, you know, they can, it's tried and proven. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And we know that it's not just here where people are reaching out to you to scam you, you know, just waste your time,
Yes.
crazy stuff like that. We all know the nonsense that goes on WhatsApp, you know,
Yeah.
so it's like,
Exactly. You know how much spam lives there, and I think
Mhm.
the primary concern when it comes to building community, hosting community, managing community on social media, especially from the community builder's perspective, is safety,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
We all know how much the big tech companies have gotten into hot water over privacy concerns about what's being done with our information. How is it being used? How is it being sold to other companies? Is it being shared with other companies? All of these things that are like kind of over our heads a little bit.
Right.
But,
Right.
you know, they are genuine concerns, and those are things that we need to keep our eyes on, especially as community professionals. So that's number one. Number two is the safety of the community. You know, if you're having the community start on what's on a platform like WhatsApp, you know, there's a lot of spam there. You know, people bringing you into their communities that you don't even know who they are. You know, oh,
Right.
come join my crypto community. Come join this. But you know, sometimes I get added to communities, right? That I don't even
Right.
ask to be a
Yeah, I
member
didn't
of.
even sign up for.
Right,
You didn't
I
even
didn't even
sign
sign
up.
up for this, and then all of a sudden I look in WhatsApp, and there's like 3 or 5 communities, and then I pop in to take a look at what it is, and they don't even exist anymore. You know,
Right.
so
Right.
it's like, why
Or
did
it's the
that
most,
even happen?
or it's the
Yeah,
craziest.
right,
You pop
right,
in to visit to see what it's about, and it's
yeah,
something that's just crazy.
yeah.
Like,
So you
yo,
got to
let me
be
get out of
careful
there
of
real quick.
what you do. Mm-hmm. Exactly,
So
exactly.
okay,
Yeah.
so where do you see so where is this going with community? You know, I already know where the Sway, you know, the Sway's universe community is going. Because a little bit about what Jeff is talking about, you know, is the fact that a lot of us in this community have never met in person. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like me and Jeff talk. We've been talking for quite a while now. You know, going back and forth, and I finally got him on this interview. Haven't met in person yet. You know, there's a couple of the other guys, you know, that I haven't met. And I just randomly happened to meet like uh Uncle Ed and, you know, the boys from Canada and Long Island, you know, just brushing shoulders with them at the Heather B event, you know,
Yep.
and
Yep.
Big Bear came to pick me up. And I know you met Big Bear. So
Yeah.
but I'm still waiting to meet Terry from LA and Louis Ochoa, which I
Still
might
waiting to
be
meet me. We haven't even met, and
exactly.
forget
That's
it.
right.
We're on the phone like at least once a week. You
Yeah.
know,
That's why I
and we
said
like,
like I forgot to say waiting to meet you, because you know what I'm saying, I
yeah,
feel like I already
'cause it
know you,
feels
you
like
know what
we
I mean?
have. Right,
Like,
right. That's how closely knit the communities become, man. Yeah.
so what's your next move? Like where are you going with this next? You know, is there any businesses coming out of this? Are you gonna run your own thing? You know,
So yeah, I definitely got some stuff in the works.
okay.
I can tell you one thing about the way the job market has been for community managers lately has, like many other industries, very tumultuous as of late.
Mhm.
Um, but the way that it kind of works is that even though a lot of companies out there right now know they need a community team,
Okay.
on the unfortunate thing that happens in the business world, especially once you get to the enterprise level and you're talking about corporate America, um, rather than seeking to effectively execute on community management. Because the thing about community management, when you apply it in the professional sense, is that it can provide value to every department within an organization, right?
Okay.
You think about a company and how many different parts it has to it, right? You got
Right.
marketing department, you got HR, you got sales, you got, support, customer support. If you're a technology company, you probably have a product team,
Right.
full of software developers and engineers and revenue operations. So, the problem, though, is that a lot of companies, unfortunately, since community management is not an overnight success, since it's something that requires an upfront investment that you don't exactly see tangible returns on for
Right.
at least 6 months to a year, if not more.
So would you say your
Um,
time is one of the biggest investments like that you put
Time
into
is
this?
one of the
Like,
biggest investments, and when you're talking about working as a community manager professionally for a company who's paying you,
right.
if they're not really ready to really double down on that investment in community, or they think that they know what community management is, but really they're just trying to exploit community management to affect revenue generation and growth,
Mhm.
meaning that they're just chasing a bag, that's where my job goes to die.
Right.
Because in 2024, you better believe that the age of the savvy consumer, if you're claiming to be about community and creating meaningful and authentic relationships with your customers, but you better believe that they're going to be able to tell if you're trying to sell them on something, you know?
Right.
And once they're able to identify that you're just trying to sell, you lost that customer forever. They're never coming back.
Right.
You know?
Right. And if you don't build that relationship with them, you know what I mean? Why should I come back and get it? I already got what I wanted once. You know what I mean?
Right,
And if you're not building something, I'm gonna look for the next best thing.
right,
I'm gonna look for the
exactly,
next thing coming up. Um,
correct.
so I think that's kind of cool, man, that the whole community thing. Cause I didn't, me being in the podcast business, I didn't really know anything about this community building until I
Mhm.
started talking to you, and a couple other people, that are big in the game of doing these type of things.
Yeah,
And I also didn't know that community building keeps the revenue coming in. That's how you monetize.
right.
So
What
this
what
was
is
all
what
new
is
to
the
me.
saying in business? This is a like a scientific law of business, and let's see if you know it. What costs more? Does it cost more to get a new customer or to keep an old customer?
Oh, to keep an old customer, it costs more to get a new customer because you have to
Yes,
put into the advertisement. You got to put into the new marketing strategies. You got to go out looking for them. I mean, this is why you have whole sales teams when you run a business. You're like, okay, this is my sales director. His job every day, all day is just to go out and look for customers.
yeah.
And you're
I
paying him a salary to do this.
100%. I forget the exact number, but it's something like it costs 10 times more, whatever times more, to
Mhm.
onboard a new customer than it does to keep an existing customer.
Right.
You know
And
what
if
I'm
you're not
saying?
getting customers, you're gonna have to onboard a new salesperson.
Right. So if you're losing customers, right,
Mhm.
which proves how important, how critical it is to have a community team. So that way you're taking the necessary precautions to keep your customers happy and engaged.
Right.
Um, and if you're losing customers, that means your costs are even that much, are doubly so important,
Right.
because you're losing customers, and which means you're having to invest more into getting new ones, you
Okay.
know. So the way all of that has translated into what the job market looks like for a person who does what I do is it's been very tumultuous, and it's kind of taken on the nature of um, almost like becoming a contractor, right? Like
Right.
working 3 month gigs here, 6 month gigs there. I'll get a 9 month contract, a 12-month contract. A lot of it starts as contractual work that can later at a later point in time be translated into or transformed into a full-time gig. you
Right.
know
Right.
so but then On the flip side of that as well is that when there's an economic downturn, a recession, shit starts to get a little bit weird and budgets are drying up. Unfortunately, community managers are one of the first roles to go. So
Right.
all that being said, yeah, I'm definitely cooking stuff up on. I got stuff on the skillet right now that I'm cooking up in terms of a consulting practice for myself. Podcast stuff that's coming. We got stuff that's coming for sure.
Nice, for sure, for sure. I'm not gonna, we're not gonna drop all the gems here on one episode. You know what I mean? It's a lot coming up, and
Mhm.
I definitely I salute you, my brother. You know what I'm saying, for everything that you're doing. We really appreciate it. And before we wrap this up, man, I just want to say, what's something inspirational or motivational that you can share with the audience? You know what I'm saying? That something that you follow, something you want to say.
You know, there's uh, there's definitely you're asking this question at a very timely point for humanity. I think it's what, just 3 days or so after election day, and
Yeah,
that's been a big topic of the week, and folks have been um, you know feeling all kinds of emotions, frustration, disappointment, anger. um, but there's a track that I listened to the other day. I was on my way. I was on my way here to Phoenix, and when I went into airplane mode, I didn't even realize that the first track that came on was a track that I didn't even realize I had downloaded on my phone. Uh, excuse me. Um, and once I heard it, it provided me with a really great sense of comfort and relief, because I was definitely going through a lot of those similar emotions as well. So the track, Common has an album called A Beautiful Revolution,
yep.
and that album was released in parts. I think there may be up to 4 parts. There's definitely two, but I seem to recall there being a part one, two, three, and four. But anyway, on the first part, there is it's the Beautiful Revolution outro, and it's a spoken word artist, and they just the poem or the piece that they talk through in this track was just extremely motivational, inspiring, and like I said, provided me with a great sense of relief and comfort. I'm not gonna play the whole thing. You check it out on your own time. It's called A Beautiful Revolution outro by
Okay.
Common. But I'm just gonna drop. It starts out with what is a beautiful revolution. A beautiful revolution is when old and outdated ideas are replaced by new and better ones. Everybody's in peace. Everybody's shaking hands. Like I said, I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but the one part that got me is this part that says the truth is revolution can be small. It's in the stillness, and it can be painful and warm because it's happening on the inside first. That
Wow.
was the part that I found to be really really motivational, really inspirational, and that's what we need to be holding on to right now. Is especially if you happen to be in the group of folks who are disappointed at the outcome of the
Right.
election. Um, know that it's just an election. Presidents come and go, but revolution is forever.
Right. Right.
Oh, and just like that track says, revolution can be small, and it can be painful, and it can feel warm, because it's happening inside first.
That's actually dope that you said that and you chose to use that and quote that, because here's the thing with everything that's going on right now, and like you said, things come and go, they change, and a revolution that stays forever, but as we move through the election time and we got people that are disappointed and things like that, everybody has to remember we all have a job to do. And that's
Yes.
community building. That's
Right.
building the communities up. That's keeping these communities strong, you know,
Exactly.
and being
Exactly.
united, you know what I mean? And I really salute you, brother, again, man, because this is what you do. You know what I mean? You get to build communities and you get to, you know, because when you look at our community that we have with Sway's Universe, it's so diverse that it's just crazy. You know,
Yeah.
the knowledge that you can get from here and over there, and you
Uh-huh.
know, the support, because I know that at times when I was struggling in my personal life, I was
Right.
able to reach out to some of the brothers and sisters in that community,
Mhm.
and they helped me out with so much, with just a treasure trove of knowledge.
Yes.
Hey, do it this
Yeah.
way, and I'm like, man, it actually worked. You know,
Yeah.
so salute you,
100%.
brother.
And don't get it twisted. I appreciate the salute, but don't get it twisted either. Everyone is either part of a community or building one themselves, whether they realize it or not. You know, because that's the thing about community, is that we are hardwired as human beings to gravitate towards community, because we just have it built into us to long for this sense of belonging, right? To
Mhm.
long for this thing that has seemed to have eluded us in a time that we are so inundated with technology, which that's the part that makes it so ironic. But yeah, man, everyone and anyone is either part of a community at this very moment or is building one as we speak. And if you don't think you are, take another look, because you are utilizing skill sets that you're probably overlooking you have within yourself, which is what makes what I do so interesting to me, right? When you apply it in the professional sense, I've worked with folks that have pivoted into community management and they were teachers before this, you know, or I've had folks that have pivoted into community management, but they were improv actors before doing this. You know what I'm saying? And that's what makes it so cool, is that the walks of life that you can end up collaborating and working with is so vast, because we all have community within our DNA.
Right. Well, y'all, everybody, you heard it from my man Jersey City Jeff, you know, community building. And like he always says, man, he got this favorite thing he tells me all the time, because he always tells me to keep cooking. So, you know what I'm saying? That's right, man. It was a pleasure to have you on here, brother. And we're going to definitely link up for part 2.
Yes, sir.
And
yes, sir.
You be well, my brother.
It's gonna be part 2. It's gonna be part 3. We're gonna be regular. Nah, I know.
Saga.
Yeah, man. It's gonna be a whole saga, man. I can't wait.
That's right. That's right. I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah,
much
man.
love and be well.
Real Chat Podcast. We out of here.